Hey, good to see you guys. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Happy Sunday, everyone. I hope you're all having a good day here today. And we're doing part 32 of our Exploring National Park series. We're reached the halfway point of the series. And today we're here in the beautiful Washington State. Today we're here to explore a very special national park, North Cascades National Park here in Washington. So I hope you're all having a great weekend. This should be an absolutely stunning national park in northern Washington today. This is definitely the newer of the three national parks here in the state. Um, of course, the two other national parks are relatively old. You have one of the oldest national parks in Mount Rainier, and then of course Olympic National Park with its stunning forest. So North Cascades, definitely the newest and least visited national park in the state, but it's an absolute treat to visit. So before we get started, I do want to say hello to everyone in chat. Red Baron Fly, it's great to have you here. We're in the Savage Norton today. And hello to all the lurkers and stuff. I hope you all have had a great weekend as well. Lots of stuff going on here. So here's our flight plan for this morning, of course. We'll be starting here from Leavenworth Airport. We'll make our way down over to our first stop in Leavenworth. Fun fact about Leavenworth. Leavenworth, Washington is basically it's a Bavarian style village in the Cascades. And it became that in the 1960s, and it's a very well-known place for tourists to visit. It's definitely one of the more popular areas in Washington for tourism. And there's a lot of stuff for people to visit, of course. Then from there, we'll continue on east. We'll make our way over to the lake, Lake Chelan. We'll fly over Lake Chelan for a bit. We'll fly over Lake Chelan, and we'll make our way over. Then from Lake Chelan into and we'll make our way to Stehelkin State Airport, which is a bush trip. Then from the bush trip, we'll go into the second leg. We'll fly into the national park. From there, we'll fly up to Washington Pass and fly over there. Make our way through to these areas here. Fly over many of the mountains here. We're gonna have a pit stop in one of these lakes. One of these alpine lakes. Then we'll go over to Ruby Mountain. Then there's the town of Diablo. Then we'll go through Ross Lake. And then one of our pit stops is Mount Baker. We'll stop at Mount Baker. We'll have a pit stop, bush landing here at Mount Baker. And then we'll land here at Concrete Municipal Airport here in Washington. So that is our flight plan this morning. Should be an absolutely gorgeous trip into Washington State. Beautiful area. And of course, we have our bush plane, the Savage Norton. The reason I mainly find one bush plane is because this Norton is just basically the perfect bush plane for this type of trip. Short takeoff, short landing, short takeoff distance, short landings. It's the perfect type of bush plane we need for the trip. It's light. It can get through just about anything. So we're taking this one today. In our first altitude this leg, I'm looking at my map. The max altitude we're gonna fly to 6,000 feet for much of the first leg, and then the rest we will go around 3,000 feet. So we're gonna go to 6,000. I'm just going to set this up for the autopilot. Oh, we have Red Baron with us. Hey, good to see you, Red Baron. Glad you can join us for today. Glad to see you make it. But yeah, this is Leavenworth Airport. Very cool G8 airport. Right in the heart of... So here we go, guys. We're going to go ahead and hit this. Yeah, a little lift. Yeah, this thing is absolutely insane. We got an insane lift. Look at the landscape here, guys. Look at the beautiful landscapes here, guys. Washington State. Absolutely gorgeous. So here we guys go. So 4,500 for the first leg. But yeah, this thing is a really great aircraft for climbing, and yeah, this is an absolutely gorgeous piece of scenery. We're going to take plenty of really great pictures today, obviously. As you guys can probably tell, we've got some absolutely gorgeous pictures to take of our national park experience. Man, the landscapes here in Washington are absolutely gorgeous. Oh, Southeast Asia, actually. S9 server, Southeast Asia. That is where we're at here currently. So if you guys want to join on in, Southeast Asian server, here's our route for today. Our route for this morning's flight. So let's go ahead and talk a bit about the national park here, North Cascades National Park here in Washington. Let's go ahead and talk about that as we reached our altitude limit for today. So North Cascades National Park is located in northern Washington. It's the largest at the 3 national park services in the North Cascades National Parks complex at over 500,000 acres. And it has 2 sections, a northern and southern section bisected by the Skagit River that flows through the reservoirs of the Ross Lake National Recreation Area. There's also the Lake Chelan Recreation Area right around the park. North Cascades National Park is well known for being featuring the rugged peaks of the North Cascades, the most expansive glacial system in the contiguous 48, in the headwaters of numerous waterways, in the vast flora with the highest degree of floral biodiversity of any U.S. national park. Yes, there's more flora biodiversity in Florida than any other national park here in the country. Of course, one of the really cool things is, of course, one really unique thing about this national park is that this national park is almost entirely protected as wilderness. So there's very few structures here at the park. Roads are under improvements, so visitors wishing to drive to a campground must do so in the adjacent national forest. And mountaineering is also pretty popular at the park too. But yes, most of this is wilderness, which is quite different than some of the other national parks we've covered. So pretty cool stuff about this park as we get through into this area for a bit. But yeah, really cool stuff. This park is among the least visited in the United States. Only 16,000 visitors visited here in 2024. Which is not a lot. And this actually makes this one of the least visited national parks in the country. Which is kind of surprising at first, but it makes sense. Most of this is wilderness, and it's not easy for a lot of people to visit. Plus, when you also have 2 other extremely popular national parks nearby, Mount Rainier and Olympic National Park, North Cascades isn't very well visited. In fact, North Cascades is among the least visited national parks in the United States. In fact, this national park, by the way, is actually the second least visited national park in the United States in 2024. It's the second least visited. So, not a lot of people get to see this national park. So, pretty cool little area here. So we're going to be turning left very soon. But yeah, look at the landscapes in this today. This is absolutely gorgeous. Washington State. What an absolutely gorgeous area for scenery. So there's Leavenworth, by the way. There's that Bavarian village here. Yeah, really cool stuff. If you've never been to Leavenworth, very neat little Bavarian village. Maybe next time we get to Washington, we get to visit Leavenworth. But the state's really cool. Lots of really neat places here. So we'll turn left soon, and then we'll climb up to 66,000 feet for the next one. So here we go. We'll turn left. So yeah, we're just climbing through this. Really cool stuff. So let's go to our slideshow for a bit. Let's talk about the history of the national park. Human history of North Cascades National Park can be traced back to the Paleo-Indian era, around 8 to 10,000 years ago, after the last ice age. Paleo-Indians slowly advanced from the Puget Sound into the interior mountain region as the glacial ice retreated, and they found archaeological evidence from other sites hundreds of miles away from the park. And many tools like microblades and all that were part of the archaeological record from the Skagit River Valley, west of the park and regions in the east. And of course, many different tribes lived in this area during this time. When white explorers first entered the area during the late 18th century, an estimated 1,000 Native American Skagits lived in what is now the national park, as well as surrounding area, and resided mainly in the west of the park. They lived in settlements, culling their needs from the waterways and traveling through canoe. And they mainly formed a loose confederation of tribes that united and threatened by outside tribes, like the Haidas, who lived further north. So the Skagits were the main people living there. They're mainly lowlanders and only ventured into the North Cascades during the summer months. Inland and residing to the north of the Skagit tribe, there's also the Nalaka Pamuks, known as the Thompson Indians, the Chelan, Okanogan, and Wenatchee tribes, lived partly or year-round in the eastern sections of the North Cascades National Park. And the Skagits in the Nalaka Pamuks often had disputes in rangers' camps and stuff too. Of course, the first white explorer to enter the national park was most likely a Scotsman named Alexander Ross, who was an employee of the American-owned Pacific Fur Company. Now, of course, to the southeast of the park boundary, Ross and other members of the company constructed Fort Okanogan in 1811, a base for which they operated much of the early Pacific Northwest fur trade. Yes, fur trade was a big deal back in the old days, for beaver pelts, of course. And Fort Okanogan was also the first American settlement in present-day Washington state. Both Native Americans and white trappers have conducted fur transactions at the trading post, and for which was staffed by the fur company, and at one season they traded over 1,500 beaver pelts. And he was also explored the valleys and high passes of the North Cascades, but was less interested in exploration and more interested in discovering a route that would connect the fur trading post of interior Washington in the Puget Sound. Of course, one pretty notable thing, of course, there's also lots of disputes between the American and British, mainly around the fur trade. Of course, outside trappers, the North Cascades saw no further exploration in the 1850s until the 1850s. In 1853, U.S. Army Captain George B. McClellan led a party to explore for potential locations for a railroad through the region. And they determined the mountains were too numerous and precipitous, and that any railway would have to be constructed well to the south. Of course, the Americans and British had their disputes in the North Cascades, and eventually they had a deal with the Oregon Treaty of 1846 with the Washington border with Canada in the 49th parallel. And much of the North Cascades National Park is well within the boundaries of the Oregon Treaty. In 1882, Army Lieutenant Henry Hubbard Pierce led a government-sponsored exploration to traverse the western boundary of the southern section of the park. As with the party found in the 1850s, Pierce failed to find a suitable route for a railway and only found ones suitable for roads. However, the expedition did find gold in a quartz vein in El Dorado Peak. But, of course, a lot of the valleys were pretty impenetrable with mountains. Mineral prospectors had a lot of operations through all this time, and during the late 19th and first half of the 20th century, larger operations mined silver and lead in addition to gold, but mostly with little to no availability. However, compared to many other parts of the park, and unlike many other regions in the Northwest, logging actually had little impact in the future of the park. You see, with more economically viable timber resource closer to transportation routes, it largely dissuaded a lot of the timber industry from logging the area. Of course, there have been many attempts to try it, and even before the North Cascade region was part of a forest reserve in 1897, activists still thought that this area should be a national park. And petitions have been around ever since 1892. But it took them decades before that ever happened. Though not all locals wanted a national park, as they felt a designation would damage the economics of the region. By the mid-1930s, Forester Bob Marshall argued the region should be set aside as wilderness, but rival interests continued to argue whether the land should be under management of the Forest Service or the National Park Service. But by the 1960s, the environmentalist argument for a national park prevailed. And thus, in 1966, JFK directed the Departments of Agriculture and Interior to fund a new study whether it was possible to have a national park. And in 1968, the North Cascades National Park Act was signed to designate the area as a national park, and it became part of the management in 1969, making this one of America's next national parks. So that concludes a bit about the history of the North Cascades National Park. And that concludes the history of North Cascades. So that concludes it for a bit. I hope you guys enjoyed a bit of the history lesson. So let's see who's flying along with us. We have Red Baron with us. He's further back. Good to see you. But yeah, absolutely gorgeous scenery today here in Washington State. This scenery is absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, we got some really exciting flying to do. I cannot wait. Some really cool stuff about this national park too. Some bit of hey Ian Fisher, good to see you. Let me give a shout out for both Red Baron um, and Ian Fisher. Here's a shout out for both you guys. I hope you're all having a great day. You guys as well. The beautiful national parks. We're visiting North Cascades National Park today, Ian. So we're actually going to make a land at Good Mountain, funnily enough. We're going to make a pretty big landing. We're going to be landing at Good Mountain, actually, is going to be one of our landing spots. Actually, our landing spot is Good Mountain, the highest peak of the national park. Is the one where, actually, that's going to be the mountain we're landing, not Mount Baker. We'll fly over Mount Baker, but we'll... So we got some really cool stuff here, though, too. It's a beautiful area here today. We're exploring the national park here in Washington. So let's go over one more interesting thing. I do want to recap slightly about the things that happened yesterday in sports. For the World Cup yesterday, Germany beat the Ivory Coast, so they win their group. And then Ecuador are basically out of the tournament. They lost. They actually tied to Curacao. Eloy Room put up an absolutely insane game for Curaçao's goalkeeper. And then, of course, the Dutch absolutely annihilated the Swedes. I'm not surprised that happened. And then in La Liga 2, Malaga have actually done it. The Malaga have actually won La Liga 2 promotion playoffs. So they'll be in Spain's first division next year, which is actually nuts. Which is actually pretty nuts, to say though myself. Hey, Planet Neutral, good to see ya. Here's a shout for you too, my dude. If you guys don't know, check out Planet Neutral. Great friend, does a lot of flight. He does some flying, but he also does karaoke too, and he even does both at the same time. So check out him. Great local area streamer, an excellent friend of mine over the last couple of years. So let's talk about, we're going to actually be flying over the Lake Chelan National Recreation Area here. We already reached this area. So the area we're flying to is the Lake Chelan National Recreation Area, which is about 35 miles south of the Canada-US border. It's 61,000 nautical miles, 61,000 acres of land, including the northern portion of the Lake Chelan, in the surrounding area. It's part of the North Cascades National Park complex. Mainly, this area is very it connects to the small town of Stehelken, which is around less than 100 residents, and it's only accessible by floatplane or passenger ferry. Are the only places that you can access this town. Of course, visitors to Lake Chelan National Recreation Area get general area information about the area at the Golden West Visitor Center. Some of the areas include the Buckner Homestead, Purple Point Stinker Ranger Station, and the One Room School are in the recreation area and are listed in the National Register of Historic Places. The recreation area's most notable interest is the Lake Chelan, one of the deepest lakes in the country, reaching about 1,500 feet deep, which is, yeah, really deep. It spans over 50 miles, and the lake brings tens of thousands of visitors to do anything from fishing, boating, hiking, and even camping. Pretty cool stuff. A very, very unique area here. And we're reached this beautiful area, so we're going to go ahead, and that's why I wanted to talk about it briefly, because we finally made it to this region. So we're going to go ahead, turn left. Oh yeah, and one more thing. Today is also Happy Father's Day, by the way. Today is Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, everyone, for all the fathers out there. Happy Father's Day as well. So we're going to go ahead and make our way to Lake Chelan. This is going to be a really single fly-through. Guys. But yeah, today's World Cup action is going to be a pretty exciting one. And of course, earlier today, Tunisia are now eliminated. They got absolutely annihilated by Japan 4-0. Tunisia absolutely stinks in this World Cup. But then we have Spain and Saudi Arabia. I think the Spaniards are going to take their anger on the poor Saudis. Then we have Belgium and Iran. Hope the Belgians win. Don't want to see Iran win. Uruguay, Cape Verde. I think the Uruguayans got it, but who knows? Vozinho might have another masterclass. And then Egypt and New Zealand. I would like to see the Kiwis get a win. See the Kiwis do it. So that's going to be today's action here in the World Cup. But yeah, it's been very exciting so far. This year's World Cup has been really good. Really enjoying it with you guys, of course. Yeah, the scenery here is absolutely fantastic. Did Japan already happen? No, it's 12 a.m. It happened at 12 a.m. and it happened at midnight. Yeah, Japan won. But yeah, Japan's looking really, really good so far. Yeah, it's already happened. Japan, it's 12 a.m. It's because, of course, Japan's a couple hours back. Because 12 a.m. their time, remember, they're 9 hours behind us in time. So 12 a.m. So 12 a.m. EST to JST is 1 p.m. their time. It's the Japanese time schedule. They're about 9 hours behind, so. And I think it's something similar in Australia. Would have to be adjusted sometimes. But yeah, Lake Chelan, pretty cool, so we'll be doing some stuff around the way. But yeah, I'm very excited. This World Cup's been absolutely fantastic so far. Just so many really cool stuff going on. So we'll talk more about the park. Let's start with the management of the park. The park is managed. The park is managed by the National Park Service, and its headquarters are actually in Sedro-Woolley, Washington, 12,000 people, by the way, living in the town, and consists of a northern third unit, and was separated by the Ross Lake National Recreation Area. The southeast boundary abrupts into Lake Chelan National Recreation Area. The park and recreation areas are managed as the North Cascades National Park Complex. Of course, not a lot of people visit this national park. Although there are several gravel roads open to the public, such as Lake Cascade River Road, most automobile traffic goes through State Route 20, which passes through the Ross Lake National Recreation Area. But yeah, this is definitely one of the more tricky parks to access because the lack of roads and stuff in the park. Pretty cool stuff, but mainly a lot of people are visited. But yeah, not a lot of people visit the national park. Most people visit the National Recreation Area of Ross Lake. Now, one very fun thing about this park is the geography. And this is the really fun thing about this national park. One of the really interesting things about the North Cascades National Park geography is the fact it's actually named after the North Cascade Mountains, which is a subsection of the Cascade Range that extends from Northern California into British Columbia, and they are the northernmost section of the range. And unlike their southern parts, the North Cascade Mountains are mainly composed primarily of Mesozoic crystalline and metamorphic rocks, dating back to around 400 million years ago, which again is very, very old. Which is very, very old, of course. And though most rocks in the park are from more recent times, the old rocks are around 400. Now, much harder, more durable than younger rocks in the southern Cascades, the North Cascades are much more rugged, with steep terrain being the norm. Now, of course, this is a pretty high mountain national park. The tallest peak is actually Good Mountain, which we will make a landing at Good Mountain, by the way, which is around 9,220 feet. It's located in the more remote backcountry region of the southern section. But there's several peaks that exceed 9,000 feet. Buckner Mountain nearby, Mount Logan, and around is Black Peak and El Dorado Peak. While the northern region contains the Picket Range, which features some ominous names: Mount Fury, Mount Challenger, Poltergeist Pinnacle, and Phantom Peak. Many of those are around 8,000 feet. Now, not far from the national park, and one of the ones we'll probably land and visit, Mount Baker, which we'll also be paying a visit to. And in terms of lakes and ponds, there are over 500 lakes and ponds within the national park. However, many of these are devoid of fish, due to the fact a lot of these lakes are in steep terrain. Fishing in these lakes do not have native fish, is part of the area's economy and tourism. And there are hundreds of creeks and streams originate from the park. Most well known being Thunder Creek, of course. In terms of glaciers, there are 312 glaciers in the national park, which is the most of any U.S. national park outside of Alaska. And a third of all glaciers from the lower 48 are here in this national park. Yes, it's got a lot of glaciers. The largest glacier in the park is Boston Glacier, which is around 1,700 acres. Other glaciers include East Noosak Glacier, Sulphide Glacier on Mount Shuksan, McAllister and Inspiration Glaciers on El Dorado Peak, and several more. Though they have been decreasing due to climate change, of course. But yeah, there's a lot of glaciers here in the park. Way more than people ever expected it to be, of course. Coming into the park itself. Sorry, gotta get me a drink. Gotta calm myself down. So I think some of you guys are aware of this, but some streamers I know are already doing the Fokker FJ, Fokker F70. I am so excited for that plane to come out. I will definitely grab it as soon as it hits the market. I'll grab the Fokker F70 in 100. I cannot, I cannot wait to do it. I am so excited for that plane, and I get to see them do it. It looks class. It looks like I might even enjoy the F70 even more than I do the Avro. That thing's going to be so fun. Like the F70, I could take it on to London City. I could take it through a lot of regional routes. But apparently it's even more modern than the V8146. Apparently it's already got VNAV too, which will make flying out of this even easier and more fun. Honestly, I can't wait for it. And of course, I'll probably do some flying in Australia out of this thing too. Like out of our Sydney hub, maybe Sydney to Brisbane or something like that. Just a short hop. Yeah, really cool. But yeah, like I said, very, very cool to see the Fokker F70. Really cool plane. But yeah, really, really cool to see. Um, Now, in terms of flora and fauna, this national park, by the way, for flora and fauna, in terms of flora, of course, it is the most biodiverse flora national park in terms of flora in the country. It's influenced by the great vertical relief around moisture this area receives, the slope of soil types, and fire ecology allow great biodiversity to evolve. Few other North American national parks have as many vascular plant species as here in North Cascades. Around 1,600 species documented. And if you add more non-vascular plants and fungi, it can more than double the number of known plant species here at the park. It includes over 236,000 acres of old-growth forest. Basically, old-growth forest means ones that have not been developed without disturbance. And you can find all sorts of trees. Western hemlock, cedars, and fir are quite common. Of course, you'll between 2,000 and 5,500 Pacific silver fern, mountain hemlock, and more. Of course, the biodiversity here in the park is threatened by both climate change and invasive exotic plant species. These plants are spread across the park through inadvertent redistribution from human activities, including that of diffused knapweed and reed canary grass. True grass species are around 150 in the park. And of course, native to the park is white bark pine, which is completely native to the park and it grows elevations over 5,000 feet, which provides a food source for birds, most notably the Clark's nutcracker. Feeds on these nuts, of course. So, pretty cool stuff as well. Also, for red and Douglas squirrels, also use these food, of course, and as a home. However, they are under risk of the white pine blister rust and mountain pine beetles, who've absolutely been devastating a lot of the trees here, of course. In terms of fauna, there is a lot of diversity there too. 75 different mammal species live here in the park, including 18 species of carnivore. Coyote, bobcat, lynx, cougar, mink, river otter, and black bear have all been reported in the park. Also, other animals include several species of deer, elk, and moose, as well as bovids like goat, mountain goats, and bighorn sheep, as well as 24 species of rodents, like, of course, most notably the beaver, obviously. And yes, you can find grizzly bears here too. And gray wolves are both found in the park, though not very common here at the national park. Very interesting part about it as well. Now, one of the most seldom seen elusive animals in North America are wolverines. and they are seldom sighted at the park due to the limited numbers of the species and the habitats, which they prefer the snowy high-altitude regions far from human encroachment. But of course, some of them have been captured and fitted with transmitters for research. In terms of bird species, there's over 200 species of birds that pass through the park, and mainly as a breeding ground, including both golden and bald eagles, as well as northern spotted owls, harlequin duck, Clark's nutcracker, trumpeter swans, and other birds were found here at the park. There's 28 species of fish, including all 5 species of Pacific salmon, the pink chinook, sockeye, coho, and chunk, as well as various trout species, of course. So pretty cool stuff. Lots of different animals and stuff live here in the park. Tons of unique animals living here, obviously. So let's take a look at our going through Lake Chelan. This is absolutely gorgeous lake. What a gorgeous lake to visit. That's absolutely gorgeous. Mm-hmm. Yeah, look at this. The scenery here is just gorgeous today, and we haven't even gotten to the national park itself. What absolutely breathtaking scenery today. So we're about to reach the southern end of the park. So we got 2 more slides. We'll go ahead and cover the last 2 slides for today. No, we got a couple more slides out of this, but the last 2 slides of this leg, at least. The Cascade Range is enough to cause a very significant rain shadow on the eastern slopes. Annually, the western portions receive 76 inches more precipitation on the eastern side. And it also correlates to increased snowfall, as 400 inches more snowfall a year in the west side than the east. Snow covers the ground for more than 6 months of the year, even at lower elevations. And State Highway Route 20, the only route highway through the park, is generally closed from late November to late April. Numerous avalanche chutes are across the highway and help make snow removal during that process infeasible. And heavy snow and avalanches are quite common on the western slopes. And most tourists visit during June and September. So in terms of temperatures, the highest daily is July with 76, whereas lows, yeah, around 30 degrees, but you get a lot of snow. So pretty cool stuff, of course. With that, we're going to go ahead and boost the... And finally, for our last slide, the attractions. Nearly all of this national park is protected by wilderness. It is the premier wilderness park of the lower 48. However, there is no entrance fee in the park compared to many other ones. And the hiking trailheads are accessed by vehicle, do not require parking areas. Kayakers and backpackers often visit the Cascade Pass during the southwestern section of the park and mainly used as a travel route. So we might be able to visit the Cascade Pass through our park. So we might be able to visit all this area. Of course, high climbing, unlike many other national parks, there are no places within the national park where one can drive to a campground. You have to get it for backpacking. Hiking and backpacking are the only way you can get to the park. However, this is a great park for mountaineering and climbing destination due to the fact there's tons of cliffs and stuff that can be, and many of them can be accessed easily, though the most remote ones are multi-day excursions. So, pretty important stuff. But like I said, it's definitely the premier wilderness park. It's not for normal people like us. It's meant for the serious hardcore people who want to. So, just wanted to let you guys know about that. So here it is, guys. Our first stop here today is going to be our first stop, and that's going to be the Lake Chelan recreational area. We're stopping at the town Stehelken, which is actually one of our stops, of course. And this here, we got the little Turk airstrip here, so we'll stop here very soon. So here's guys Stehelken. There's that small town. So there's that small town I mentioned. There's one place you can land your float plane. But we're landing here in the airstrip, of course. And there she is. So we're gonna go ahead and disable the autopilot. Autopilot off. We're gonna get ready for our first landing. Hey, Quart! Nice to see you, my dude. Hey, Lord Blackheart's here too. Good to see you, my dude. Good to see you, Shaq OSC. Welcome to North Cascades National Park, an absolutely underrated gem of a national park. You have to earn this trip, but trust me, this national park is absolutely gorgeous. And here's the link to the national park website. If you guys are interested in looking at the park website, here you go, guys. I want to pin this in the chat so everyone can see this. So you guys can check out this beautiful. Yep. But yeah, absolutely gorgeous scenery here. Washington State's absolutely gorgeous. Here's a shout out for you too. Definitely check out his channel. Does all sorts of content on his streams, and he's definitely become a nice friend of the community too. So we're gonna go ahead. So this is going to be a fun landing, of course. It's always going to be a challenging landing to land in this area. But like I said, this is the perfect national park for this sort of landing. The trees and landscape. What an absolute gorgeous national park. And nice smooth landing. Negative 15 feet per minute. That's nice. So we're just going to I'm going to park here for a bit. Beautiful national park here. We'll be waiting here for just a little bit. So this is Lake Stelkin Recreation Area. But yeah, like I said, the North Cascades landscape is going to be one of those updated in the new sim. And yes, we will be paying this area a visit with the new world update. It's supposed to come out on July 4th. So I'm curious to see it. Oh, and Murphy, if you guys don't know about Two Tone Murphy, he's now doing a brand new series, by the way, Prop Job, with the DC6. And there's Copper Stick. Here, good to see you too. Apparently, Murphy has a new trailer for a new series. Is this can a classic DC6 survive these airports? You know, it probably would. It probably would if Murphy was not flying the aircraft. If it was a normal pilot, yes, it would. But it's Murphy. You know what's going to happen. He's going to crash, and we're all going to suffer for it. Yeah. Yeah, pretty funny. He tried to put all of it through its paces. So, yeah. Because everyone in the brain knows that Murphy cannot fly safely. He's gone to so much carnage in his dreams that's why I barely trust him to do anything like that. So we're gonna go ahead and prepare for taking off, of course. We're about ready to do that. So I'll turn up the lane rate monitor. Don't need it for this next one since we're gonna do plenty of landings and stuff. I didn't want to take a chance. So, all right, guys, I think we're about ready to explore this national park. So, first leg is going to be 9,000 feet. Now, of course, most aircraft are going to struggle to climb up to 9,000 feet, but not this time. So, ready to finally. Okay. So we're gonna climb around and climb up here, 1,000 feet. Yeah, we're just climbing through this area. Like I said, not a lot of space to climb. And since the Savage Norden has really good climb performance, this thing should have no problem climbing up 2,000 feet a minute. Like I said, there's a reason I take this plane. It's because this thing has such really good performance. Just insane takeoff performance, man. The copter should have no problem getting up to this. It's a helicopter. But yeah, that's why I love flying this Norden. Holy water wash. Yep. Okay, guys, we're climbing high. Doing sections, yeah, do 3,000 feet at a time. Yep. Yep, do major work. I'm going to go ahead and lower the power of this thing. Okay, like I said, the Savage Norden's cloud performance in this sim is absolutely incredible. Yeah, it can climb between 1,500 to 2,000 feet a minute per the engine. The most powerful one can climb at that very easily, which is absolutely insane. This thing can just climb. Thankfully, I am going to slow down for you guys a bit, because I know climbing up in this region is going to take some bit of time. So I'm just going to slow this thing down just a little bit. Just slightly. Yeah, this park is absolutely nuts. Yeah, the scenery here is just going to be absolutely crazy. This area is. This is a nuts area for mountain. Like I said, that's why you take a dedicated bush plane for that. Like this one. Makes climbing out of this region significantly easier. But the views here are absolutely insane. So we're gonna have, I think we're gonna have 3 bush lanes today. We're gonna have a bush lane at Good Mountain. We'll have a bush lane at the Cascade Pass trailhead at Cascade Pass. And then we'll finally have one last bush landing at Mount Baker, which is the famous volcano in the region. The 172M is handling okay. Okay, good. Good to hear. Here in this area. Yeah. It's a really stunning area, guys. That is absolutely gorgeous. Look at this area, guys. Look at all these mountains and stuff. Yeah, so few people get to ever see these beautiful peaks here in the North Cascades. So we'll fly in this area here. Cutthroat Peak and all that are around here. Like I said, most people, when they fly in the sim in this region, they mainly fly the airliners, probably on their way to approach to Seattle or flying their way to Vancouver. They'll never get to see this part of the scenery, of course. So we're finally making our way up to 9,000 feet. So here we are. So let's see. Here's Copper Stick with us. Like I said, I'm not going to go nearly as fast here for a bit until everyone else gets caught up for a bit. Don't want to go too fast, obviously. So we'll be visiting our first peak. Our first landing is Good Mountain, which will be our first landing spot of the day. So Good Mountain will be our first landing spot of today. Now, Good Mountain, by the way, is the tallest peak in the entire national park. It's named for the topographer Richard Urquhart Good of the U.S. Geological Survey. It's the 4th highest non-volcanic peak in the state and the 12th highest summit overall. And this massive mountain rises 6,000 feet from its footing. It's 9,220 feet tall. It's made of one main peak and two smaller peaks. Due to its isolation region located in the rugged North Cascades, it's not visible from any road. And it features its own glacier, which is around 2,800 feet below the summit. The first person to climb this was in 1936 via the southwest route, and it's the least technical route, though the more popular now is the northeast buttress pioneered by well-known climber Fred Beckley and Tom Stewart in 1966. One of the more impressive routes was the Megalodon Ridge ascent in 2007, along with a ridge of 5,000 feet long. It took 12 hours to ascend. A pretty cool mountain. We'll be paying a visit here too. Hello there, Heck Dino. So we're gonna go ahead and turn here. Yeah, look at the landscape here. That is just gorgeous. Look at the scenery, guys. Wow. That is impressive scenery here today, guys. Jesus, that is gorgeous, guys. Can you guys believe the scenery here? Thanks, Super Typhon. Didn't know that was a bot. Thank you, Typhon. Just wanted to make double sure that it was a bot or not. Can't be too sure these days with a lot of AI and stuff sometimes. It can be hard to tell sometimes. So thank you for taking care of that. So, we're just 94 nautical miles from Concrete Municipal, so we'll make our lane here at Good Mountain. We'll also make a smaller trip to Cascade Pass. Cascade Pass, by the way, if you guys work, Cascade Pass is actually one of the most popular trails. It is a mountain pass, and we'll make a landing here. It's a very popular hiking trail. It's the most popular trail in the park. And if you guys want to see Cascade Pass, let me show you what that trail looks like from the slideshow. Yeah, the bots have gotten bad. Tell me about it. So this is Cascade Pass Trail. This is the trail that leads into the national park. So this is 6.9 miles, and it goes through up into this area. It's the most popular trail in the park, and it's pretty crowded. So here's some of the pictures of this trail. Someone from 2023 posted this. Look at that. Look at the scenery here, guys. Now that's just gorgeous scenery. Absolutely gorgeous scenery here. Just gorgeous. Just some of the mountain peaks. They call it the American Alps, and I can definitely see why. This is absolutely breathtaking. From 3 days ago. You can't even tell if this is Washington State or the Alps because, yeah, we'll definitely make a land down here and we'll get a postcard picture for the Discord. And speaking of Discord, if you guys want to check out my Discord, here it is. Exclamation point Discord. Yeah, it's just these pictures, man. These are absolutely just stunning. Yes, I've absolutely been loving this series so far. I've been really appreciating all you guys for being here. So that is the Cascade Trail Pass. So we'll find an empty spot for the trailhead. We'll make a landing there. We'll find a good area around it, and we'll take some pictures. But yeah, very, very excited to show you guys some of this stuff. And yeah, and by the way, if you guys are aware about what I'm going to be doing with this series, with the new world update coming out soon, and with the new world update, um, with the world update coming out and all that, um, uh, we'll be doing we'll be checking out the new world update for the national parks. It's going to come out around July 4th. It's going to feature over 30 national parks and monuments. So we'll be looking at which ones it covers, and then we'll be doing them in a redux. Any of the national parks that come after the July 4th stream, which would probably be, let me see, 21st, 28th, 28th, July 6th, 28th, July 5th, which would be okay. So it would be after we cover Arches National, anything after Redwood National Park. So anything after our national park stream with Redwood is going to be a redux. We'll revisit the areas we've been to. Anything after that June 28th stream, which will be Arches, will be with the new update. So I want to let you guys know, for and foremost, what we're going to be doing in this series. So I want to be clear and honest to you guys about what we're doing in this series. But yeah, I want to make that clear to all of you guys here in the chat. Don't crash. It's going to be hard for me not to crash with this. But yeah, this is good peak. I probably am going to crash Typhon. I'll just try not to, the best of my abilities. Yeah, I crashed. There we go, the power slew mode. Well, the power of slew. Look at that. One more thing. There we go. Yep, did not want to do it with the plane starting. So here we are, guys. We're in the tallest peak of the park. Oh boy, look at the views from out here, guys. Can you believe that? All the views here are absolutely insane. Oh my goodness. Yeah, these are definitely going into the Discord, guys. What a view. Ah, that is bloody epic. Look at the state of that. See, this is why I like. This is why this is the perfect series for the walkout feature, because you can basically climb up mountains, look at these national parks from a whole new perspective. It's like going to the national park itself, but I don't have to climb up the mountain myself. Just absolutely stunning views. So, what a perfect view of the national park. So, guys, let's go ahead and get back to the aircraft. Let me get back to starting the plane. And we're going to go ahead and get this thing started. It won't be easy to fly without crashing. There we go. There we go. That was some stunning view, guys. That was some unbelievable views of the peaks here. Thankfully, we're not going to do a lot of crashing here for the next couple legs. After the trail pass, we'll be doing some flying around this area here. I try not to crash too much. It's just I wanted to show you guys what's at the top of the mountains and stuff. That's really cool to see. Because like for many people, like a lot of people like to climb up mountains and explore them. I want to do things my own way a little bit. Get to see things from their perspective, which is always cool to learn. Yeah, look at the sea. Look at the alpine lakes here too. This is just gorgeous. Look at the alpine lakes. Ah, those alpine lakes, man. Those are just breathtaking. Just absolutely incredible scenery here today. This is just absolutely marvelous. Oh, this is just gorgeous, guys. Love this sort of stuff. just like I said, Washington's so beautiful as a state. Like its natural scenery is just the Pacific Northwest is just something else of a natural beauty. So we're gonna fly over the Cascade Pass. Oh man, this is absolutely nuts. Look at the stunning views of this place. Holy heck. What an absolutely gorgeous place, guys. You guys are a real treat today. Oh boy, this has been an absolute blast today. So that's Cascade Pass we just flew over. Now we're gonna over to the Alpine Mountains. Oh man. I mean, would you look at that? Look at this. I'm lost of words here. This is absolutely marvelous park. Just absolutely incredible peaks here. So I guess we're going to now fly over the rest of it. We'll be able to see Ross Lake Recreation Area. So we'll go ahead and let's see, 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to go ahead and talk about our next park in the series. I don't go that fast. Let's go that one. Okay. So our last slide for today is going to be Ross Lake National Recreation Area. Is Ross Lake. Not Cascade Pass Trail. Last slide. Ross Lake Natural Recreation Area. Now, it's those visited area around this place is Ross Lake. Just about 1 million people visited in 2022. is the most accessible part of the national park complex, which includes the national park in Lake Chelan, and it follows the Skagit River corridor from the U.S.-Canada border to the western foothills of the Cascades. It features the 12,000-acre Ross Lake, 910-acre Diablo Lake, and the 210-acre Gorge Lake. And they make the Skagit River Hydroelectric Project. And it's nestled in the American Alps. This is the major destination in northern Cascades, famous for its fishing, hunting, canoeing, kayaking, hiking, and climbing opportunities. And it contains trailheads that connect hundreds of miles of trails in the adjoining North Cascades National Park. Really cool stuff. And it's by far the easiest to access Ross Lake. But it's absolutely gorgeous, and we're going to be about to enter the lake complex. So be very excited to finally get to here in the first place. So there you go, guys. That's our slides for today. All of our slides. So we're going to go ahead and explore the rest of this park from the air, of course. So, of course, we're going to stick to 9,000 feet with the one exception, of course. And the one exception is we're going to make one last landing at Mount Baker. I want to make one last landing up there, of course. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll have one at... So, beautiful Ross Lake. We'll stay up to that altitude for a bit. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Our next national park in the series will possibly be the second to last national park before our update. It will probably be our last national park 3 update that we'll be paying a visit to, and that is Redwood National Park in California will be our next national park in the series. So we'll show you a little bit about Redwood National Park. Pretty cool, neat little area. So I'm very excited to show you guys that park. So. So this here is Ross Lake. So yeah, absolute gorgeous. Let's put that here in the park. Ross Lake. And we're going to be flying here for another 7 miles through Ross Lake. But yeah, this scenery is just something else. I guess with all this being much wilderness, like, no wonder there's not a lot of people visiting the park. But it's a shame because this is easily one of the most beautiful parks in the country. It's just not a lot of people visit this area. absolutely gorgeous. This sim is just something else. And, I'm very excited to check this place, see if there's any major differences with the New World update coming up in July 4th. So, I'll let you guys know in the Discord which national parks that we will be redoing, and ones we won't be doing when it's officially out. Because once I get the official list of the parks, it will make it easier for me to do it. So, very excited here, guys. I appreciate all you guys for coming here today. You guys tuned into a really fun stream, and it's been a blast having all you guys visiting here today. Massive thank you for everyone. Like I said, appreciate all the support in the chat. So, Papa Stick's with us, Red Baron's further found behind. But, like I said, you guys are tuned into an absolutely gorgeous park. A very underrated and criminally a very undervisited park. I can't believe there are so few visitors wanting to visit this park. So, very cool stuff. So, the last parts of this park are going to be visiting through the mountain ranges. So, really, really cool stuff. Yeah, this is Ross Lake. Absolutely breathtaking scenery. I know I keep saying it, but it really is breathtaking. Like, the Pacific Northwest in general is just really nice. Now, the time we visited in real life in the Pacific Northwest, like, we got to see views of Rainier, but I would love to have a day trip to explore around this area. It would be really cool, proper day trip. But yeah, I might do a National Parks of Europe for the next Sunday series, or I might do something more historical, one of the two. So here, guys, we're going to circle into this area. So goodbye, Ross Lake. You're an absolutely beautiful area here in Washington State. We're now going to make our way west. So we'll be staying around 9,000 feet for pretty much of the next two waypoints. And then we'll climb up to Mount Baker. So we'll climb up to 12,000 feet, starting with our next waypoint, of course. We're going to go ahead and start climbing to 12,000 feet. So we'll do that. So let's start climbing about 700 feet per minute. That should be fine. We'll climb up to there. Should be more enough to get to 12,000 feet. So Mount Baker is going to be our last visit. We're going to try and see if we can make a landing at Mount Baker. Mount Baker is is 10,786 feet. It's the second most thermally active crater in the Cascade Range after Mount St. Helens. Baker is actually the youngest volcano in its own volcanic field, as the current cone is no older than 140,000 years ago. It also, after Rainier, it has the heaviest glacier cover of the Cascade Range volcanoes. In fact, the volume of snow and ice there is greater than all other Cascade volcanoes except for Rainier combined. It's also among the world's snowiest places. As in 1999, Mount Baker ski area recorded the world record for the recorded snowfall in a single season, 1,140 inches, which is equivalent to 29 meters or 95 feet of snowfall, which is absolutely insane. It's the third highest mountain peak in the state of Washington, the fifth highest in the Cascade Mountain Range, if Little Tahoma Peak in Shasta, both sub-peaks of Mount Rainier and Mount Shasta, are not counted. Native peoples often call this Kulshan. Kulshan's mainly the main name for it, but the first ascent was in 1868 by Edmund Coleman, John Tennant, Thomas Stratton, and David Ogilvy. And they climbed through the snow. But like I said, this volcano is definitely a really important one too. Very impressive volcano. It's the 20th highest peak in North America too. So Mount Baker is really, really tall. And there it is. There's Mount Baker right in the distance. We'll be landing up here. If you guys remember back during our first time we visited Rainier, we got to land on top of it. That was one heck of a view from the top of Mount Rainier. What a view that was. That was one heck of a view. So here it is. Mount Baker is coming up in the distance. Now, of course, below us, that's Mount Shuksan, right there in front of us. That's the second tallest peak at the park, or third tallest. And Baker Tower over both of them. Absolutely crazy this park is. But after Baker, a quick landing in Baker, we'll be making our way over. We'll make our way over to Concrete Municipal Airport. But yeah, really cool stuff. Mm-hmm. So there it is, Mount Baker. So, yep, we got a bit more. We just got 37 nautical miles left to go to our final stop. Yeah, very, very excited for it as well. But looking at the group stages, Mexico is going to has already qualified. They have already advanced. Canada and Switzerland are going to be playing the next round of games. So Brazil and Morocco are probably still favorites, though the last game would have to decide for all of it as well. Mm. The U.S. already qualified and won their group already, so now it has to be Australia and Paraguay to win Group D. E was already settled; the Germans won that one. And then, of course, Group F, Tunisia are obviously out, but Sweden, Japan, and Netherlands can all still compete. Then we have Group G today with the 2 matches today, and so is Group H. Then tomorrow is going to be Group I and J. I and J are going to be tomorrow. And then Tuesday is going to be Group K and L. And I mean, for K, I mean, I think Colombia could win the group. They win the group. So yeah, this World Cup's been really exciting. I can't wait to do it. So, but I'll let you guys know next week for our next week group of streams for next week, obviously. So, very cool stuff, of course. So there it is, Mount Baker. Let's get to the top of here, of course. Yeah. And as for Saturday stream, I think Saturday is going to be it's going to be the 737. I think we're going to do some short haul flying from our Zurich hub. Haven't done much of that. We'll probably do some flying out of one of our other hubs. Maybe our Genoa hub. We'll probably do some short haul flying from Genoa. We'll make it from Genoa to. We'll do some short hauls from Genoa over to either to Venice, or we'll do one to Rome or something like that. Something pretty cool. Or we could do some shuttle service between Genoa and Zurich. That would also be pretty fun. Just something like that. That would be a lot of fun. I really appreciate it. This has absolutely been gorgeous, Red Baron. I've had an amazing time with this flight. To visit this area, like I said, there's so much about the United States people have not really flown over very much in the sim. That's why I love doing the GA National Park streams, because many of the parks have absolutely gorgeous scenery, great places to fly. The Pacific Northwest is just absolutely stunning. No matter if you're up here in Washington, it doesn't matter if you're in Washington, Oregon, British Columbia, you have some amazing scenery to fly over in the Pacific Northwest. It's absolutely fantastic. You cannot go wrong with this region to fly in. This scenery has got, this area's got so much. So here it is, guys, Mount Baker. I bet if we go for Mount Baker, we might be able to see Vancouver from up there. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, but I think we might be able to see Vancouver from up here. But if we don't want to make a landing, we can go straight to the airport. I guess maybe we go straight to the airport, but we'll definitely take a picture of Mount Baker. But man, this scenery is just something else in this sim. Oh man, this is just... Maybe we'll just take a picture of Mount Baker. Yeah, like... Right, that is just perfect. Oh man, this is just beautiful. You can if it's clear enough. Absolutely. I figured you can see Vancouver from all the way up here. Yeah, there's the area for Vancouver. There's Abbotsford and all of them. There's the Abbotsford area. And yeah, there's Vancouver all the way back here. There's downtown Vancouver, which is also hosts some World Cup games. And of course, Seattle obviously was absolutely fantastic in the World Cup. Seattle fans were absolutely awesome in the World Cup. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to actually head to the airport, actually. And we're going to descend down to 2,000 feet. So. Yeah, and there's our airport down over there. So we'll go ahead and turn a little bit more left. Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, there's Mount Baker. Just absolutely incredible peaks. Yeah, this sim is absolutely awesome. Like I said, that's the real gem of this series of this sim, and why I think this update is so important. That's coming up, the new world update is so important because that this is where the scenery really shines. Is GA, you visit the national park slow, and you get to the ground detail. That's the real charm of this sim. Very much looking forward to that. So, absolutely incredible stuff, guys. It's been a massive blessing to be here, of course. So we'll find someone to rate and visit. Um, hey, we got a fall from Just Chilling for Life. Thank you so much for the fall, my dude. We're about to make our final landing here um, at Concrete Municipal Airport. We just visited North Cascades National Park in Washington. So I hope you all had a good day, though. I hope your Sunday's going well for you. So we're about to make our way to our final stop here at the beautiful at Concrete Municipal. So here it is, guys. We have quite a few people with us. Real Lord Blackheart is with us. Copper Stick and Red Baron Flies are also with us today. Massive shout out to all those guys. Thank you all for flying with me on this Sunday morning stream. It's definitely made this flight a lot more, even more enjoyable than it already was. You guys have been a massive thanks. So here it is, guys. Last stop. Here's Concrete Airport. Our final stop. Oh, yes. Oh, fantastic. Just Chilling for Life. A new vinyl. Oh, that is so cool. Oh, that's so cool. And you took it out for a little driving lesson. Oh, that's awesome to hear. Just chilling. That's fantastic. Hope you have a great Father's Day. I know there's a lot of stuff going on for my side of the family too. So there it is, guys. So here's our airport. Pretty small airport, but it should be enough to get us down. Thankfully, we had no issue with this beautiful bush plane right here. Perfecto. Oh, that's a beautiful landing. Oh, that was a beautiful landing, guys. Made it. Yeah, this sort of stuff in airstrip is exactly why you take a bush plane for all of it. There it is, guys. We made it. Absolutely incredible flying, guys. This has been a lot of fun. Um, so there it is, everyone. And that wraps up today's stream, guys. This was a bunch of fun. I really enjoyed this trip. This is definitely one of my favorite flights of the series so far. What an absolutely beautiful park, and a massive blessing for all you guys being here today. Massive thank you guys for coming on, and so many people flying along with us. Copper Stick, Shaq OSC, and Red Baron Flights, thank you so much for flying along with us today. Really do appreciate it. We're going to say hello to our good friend Sergeant Staff. So we'll check out our good friend. So we'll be back on Friday for our next Game Day Flight series. We'll be covering the New York Yankees versus the Boston Red Sox, baseball's most famous rivalry. So we'll see you in the Big Apple, of course. Take care, everyone, and have a fantastic rest of your weekend, and have a great week, everyone. And see you all again soon. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great day.